90,000 songs.
It is a staggering number.
Right. That is the volume of fully AI-generated music being dumped onto the streaming platform Deezer.
Every single day.
Every day. We're talking over 50% of their daily new uploads being completely artificial. So today we are exploring a reality where the era of simply, creating AI is basically over.
Yeah, that phase is done.
And the era of surviving and operationalizing it has officially begun. Welcome to the Deep Dive. For you, the listener who needs to stay ahead of the curve without getting buried in a 100-page white paper, we are extracting the core signals from the July 27th, 2026 edition of your weekly AI Pulse.
It is a packed edition.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. For the last few years, the tech industry was just totally obsessed with who had the smartest foundation model.
Oh, absolutely. The generative phase.
Right. We were all captivated by chatbots passing the bar exam or, writing decent sonnet. But that phase is dead. We have aggressively entered what the Pulse calls the execution era.
It is a profound pivot because, well, building a massive digital brain in a laboratory that is no longer the bottleneck.
Right. Anyone can do that now, it feels like.
Exactly. The real bottleneck is integrating that brain into the messy, high-stakes reality of daily business.
The real world.
Yes. To succeed in this execution era, organizations have realized they need an entirely new AI stack. You cannot just, drop a raw, intelligent chatbot into a Fortune 500 company and expect a revolution.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Not at all. You need specialized governance, agentic workflows, purpose-built rack-scale infrastructure, and we'll get to this later, a strategy to navigate an increasingly volatile geopolitical landscape.
Which brings us directly back to those 90,000 daily AI songs on Deezer.
Yeah, the perfect case study.
It really is. It's the perfect lens to see what happens when AI execution becomes frictionless and, frankly, essentially free.
Generative AI has driven the marginal cost of content creation down to practically zero.
Right. But here is the wild metric from the report. Even though AI music makes up more than half of the new uploads, it only accounts for 1 to 3% of actual listening activity on the platform.
Nobody is listening to.
Nobody. No one is actively searching for this synthetic filler.
What's fascinating here is how the mechanics of competitive advantage have inverted almost overnight.
How so?
Well, for a decade, digital platforms waged war over content acquisition.
Right. He who had the most content won.
Exactly. But in an environment of infinite generative abundance, total volume is actually a liability.
Oh, that makes sense. It just clutters everything up.
It degrades the user experience. If a user's recommendation algorithm gets clogged with generic, uninspired AI tracks, they will just cancel their subscription.
So Deezer is aggressively fighting the flood. They're deliberately excluding detected AI tracks from their algorithmic recommendations.
Yeah, shadow banning them, essentially.
Right. And they're actively deleting unplayed AI tracks after 6 months to combat streaming fraud. I mean, the old metaphor was that a platform was a library, and they just needed more books.
Right. Fill the shelves.
But this isn't a library anymore. It's like a municipal water system. You have an ocean of water rushing in, and your entire job is filtering out the microplastics.
The AI noise.
Exactly, the AI noise. So your users get a clean drop to drink.
And that filtration requires its own incredibly sophisticated technology. Detection AI is rapidly becoming just as strategically vital and computationally expensive as generation AI.
Wow, so you need AI to fight AI.
You do. An enterprise now has to deploy artificial intelligence simply to govern and filter the output of other artificial intelligence systems. If a platform cannot mathematically guarantee the authenticity and discoverability of its ecosystem, it loses user trust.
Trust is everything.
In the execution era, trust, not volume, is the most scarce and valuable asset.
That concept of trust is actually the perfect bridge into how our daily workflows are changing.
Right, totally.
Because while AI is in the background generating a tsunami of audio tracks, it is also being re-engineered to do actual high-stakes work in the background.
The shift from chatbots to agents.
Yes. We are leaving behind conversational knowledge assistants where you ping a text box and just wait for an answer, and we're entering the era of action-oriented agents.
And the architectural difference there between a chatbot and an agent, it's fundamental.
Break that down for us.
Well, a chatbot is generally stateless. You prompt it, it replies, the transaction ends.
Right. It doesn't remember you tomorrow.
Exactly. An agent, however, operates with a continuous memory loop and a mandate to execute multi-step plans.
Like Meta's new experimental tool, right?
Yes, Muse Spark. It is a prime indicator of this shift. It doesn't just draft an email, it evaluates a goal, breaks it down into subtasks, coordinates across different digital tools, and executes a workflow from end to end.
And we are seeing this immediate integration everywhere. Look at XAI bringing Grok natively into Google Workspace.
That was a huge move.
Yeah, Grok isn't just a website you visit anymore. It is embedded right into your docs, your sheets, your slides. But the absolute heavyweight in this transition, according to the Pulse, is Google's Gemini Spark.
A big one.
Yeah, it's running on their Gemini 3.5 Flash model and a back-end infrastructure called the anti-gravity platform. And the defining feature is that it is a 247 background agent.
It works while your laptop is closed.
Which is wild.
It requires an entirely new user paradigm, structured around 3 core primitives: tasks, skills, and schedules.
Okay, so a task is the desired outcome.
Right. For example, audit last quarter's marketing spend. That's a task.
And then a skill is a saved deterministic workflow.
Exactly. So the agent remembers the exact formatting and data sources you prefer without you needing to write a fresh prompt every single time.
Got it. And then there are schedules, which are proactive triggers.
This is where it gets autonomous.
Right. You don't ask it to do something. You tell it every Friday at 4 p.m., analyze my inbox and draft responses for my Monday morning priorities.
And because it's deeply wired into Gmail, Calendar, Drive, and all those third-party APIs, Gemini is closing in on 1 billion users.
1 billion.
1 billion people getting an autonomous 247 digital teammate.
Okay, wait, I have to stop and push back on this utopian vision for a second.
Fair enough.
I love the idea of delegating my inbox, but letting an AI run wild in my budget spreadsheets while I'm asleep?
It sounds risky.
Right. What if the agent hallucinates, misinterprets an invoice, and auto-pays a fraudulent vendor? Like, is there a hard kill switch, or are we just blindly trusting a probability engine with our bank accounts?
That is the exact friction point preventing mass enterprise adoption right now. And it's why the architecture of these agents is evolving so rapidly.
Because you're addressing it.
They have to. A pure probability engine, a standard large language model, it simply cannot be trusted with root access to your financials. That is why systems like Gemini Spark employ a strict trust and oversight framework.
How does that work in practice?
They merge probabilistic generation with deterministic guardrails.
Meaning it actually stops and asks for permission before it does something dangerous.
Precisely. The system computes a confidence score for its proposed action. If it is modifying a sensitive database, sending an external communication, or executing a financial transaction.
The high-stakes stuff.
Right. The agent is hard-coded to pause and request human biometric approval.
Oh, wow.
So the AI handles the cognitive heavy lifting, the data gathering, the formatting, the synthesis. But the ultimate strategic authority, the legal liability, really, remains strictly with the human user.
But for these autonomous agents to even prepare that work accurately, they need way more than just raw general intelligence.
A genius with no context is just a fast guesser.
That's a great way to put it. Which brings us to the secret sauce of the execution era. Context engineering.
Yes.
There is a fascinating new paper from Human Layer detailing how the entire industry is abandoning prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering was a temporary Band-Aid, really.
Or
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It was just the art of phrasing a question perfectly to coax a good answer out of a generalized model. Context engineering is structurally different.
How so?
It is the automated, programmatic injection of real-time data into the AI's operational window before the user even interacts with it.
So think of it like a surgeon's heads-up display during a complex operation.
I like that.
The display isn't teaching the surgeon how to operate. They already know that. But it is pulling in the patient's real-time blood pressure, their specific medical history, 3D scans, and overlaying that exact context onto their field of vision so they don't accidentally cut the wrong artery.
That is exactly what context engineering is doing for AI.
Right.
It's automatically feeding the model, the company's architectural frameworks, the specific compliance documentation, the live database state at the exact millisecond it needs it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is why general-purpose AI is losing ground in the enterprise sector.
Yeah, a highly intelligent, generalized model does not know your company's internal risk tolerance, right?
Or the compliance regulations of the European banking sector.
Exactly. The future belongs to vertical AI.
Meaning models and agents that are hyper-specialized for single industries.
Yes, and the numbers back that up completely.
Yeah.
ServiceNow just dropped a $40 million investment into a company called Business Next, valuing them at $700 million.
That is a massive valuation for a vertical play.
Well, Business Next isn't building a chatbot to write movie scripts. They are building deep domain expertise specifically for banking and financial services.
Because in those sectors, success is not measured by the model's ability to ace some standardized benchmark tests.
No one cares if it can pass the bar exam anymore.
Right. Success is measured by tangible, error-free business outcomes in highly regulated environments.
And we are seeing the exact same vertical specialization in healthcare. OpenAI is currently rolling out ChatGPT Health to all eligible users in the U.S.
But the mandate there isn't to replace doctors, right?
No. It's to act as a highly governed contextual translation layer for complex medical terms, symptoms, and medication regimens.
And Anthropic is playing the same game with their Claude Opus 5 model.
They really are. They have explicitly stopped hyping up their benchmark scores.
Yeah, they're putting all their marketing weight behind sustained reasoning and enterprise reliability.
Because they know a bank doesn't care if a model can write a sonnet. They care that it won't hallucinate a zero onto a loan application.
Exactly. But to support that level of sustained reasoning, especially with 247 background agents constantly pinging databases and injecting real-time context, the physical compute requirements are skyrocketing.
Oh, the hardware side of this is massive.
Yeah, the software magic we're discussing is entirely bound by the laws of physics and thermodynamics. We cannot have an execution era without a radical transformation in physical infrastructure.
And that transformation means the death of the standalone GPU.
Yeah, for the last few years, all anyone talked about was buying individual chips. But that era is over.
We have entered the era of rack-scale systems.
Explain that for the listener. Why the shift?
The physical bottleneck shifted. The individual processor chips became incredibly fast, but moving data between those chips over standard networking cables, that became the primary choke point.
Ah, so it takes more time and energy to move the data than it does to compute it.
Precisely. To solve this, enterprises are no longer buying individual components. They are buying entire, pre-integrated monolithic systems.
Like AMD's new Helios AI infrastructure.
The perfect example.
It's not a chip, it's a unified behemoth. It combines 72 of their Instinct MI455X GPUs, their next-generation EPYC Venice CPUs, specialized optical networking, and the ROCm software stack into one giant interoperable block.
Instead of having 72 brilliant brains shouting at each other across a noisy room,
AMD has essentially wired them together into a single shared nervous system to eliminate that data transfer latency.
and they are pushing this open ecosystem standard to directly challenge NVIDIA's dominance.
Meanwhile, massive players like Google are bypassing the third-party merchant market entirely.
Right, they are designing and fabricating their own custom purpose-built silicon.
Specifically tuned to run Gemini faster and cheaper. They are vertically integrating the entire stack from the silicon crystal all the way up to the user interface.
But this brings up a massive physical reality check.
The power grid.
Yes, we're replacing chips with entire integrated factory racks, running autonomous agents 24 hours a day.
And the International Energy Agency just projected that global data center electricity consumption will more than quadruple by 2035.
Quadruple.
So aren't we literally going to hit a wall where the physical power grid cannot generate enough electricity to keep these agents awake?
It is arguably the single greatest threat to the AI boom right now.
Because compute relies on megawatts.
Exactly. The metric of intelligence per watt is no longer just a facilities management issue. It is a boardroom strategic priority. Data center expansion is now violently colliding with aging municipal power grids.
So you can't just build a data center anywhere anymore.
No, the availability of power is dictating where companies can geographically locate their infrastructure, which in turn limits how fast they can scale their digital agents. Grid modernization and securing stable, often nuclear power sources, that is the prerequisite for the execution era.
And because that physical infrastructure footprint is so massive and the economic ripple effects are so profound, artificial intelligence has completely transcended corporate competition.
It's no longer just Google versus Meta or AMD versus NVIDIA.
No, AI has been elevated to the highest levels of national security.
The geopolitical chessboard is being entirely rewritten around access to compute and algorithmic capability.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Let's hear it.
The U.S. government is currently considering heavy sanctions on specific Chinese AI models.
This is huge development.
Yeah, driven by allegations that those models were accelerated using stolen intellectual property from American tech firms.
Wow.
Now, just to be very clear for you listening, we aren't here to play politics or take sides on this.
Right, we're just analyzing the fallout.
Exactly. We are impartially reporting the source material here. But this tension has ignited what is easily the most consequential policy battle of the decade.
The debate over open-weight AI models.
Yes. For you listening, an open-weight model means the core neural network, the actual matrices that cost $100 million to compute, those are published freely for anyone to download, modify, and run locally.
And the divide on this issue is razor sharp.
Completely polarized. On one side, you have the corporate tech ecosystem, heavily championed by NVIDIA, who recently published a massive paper arguing that open weights are strictly essential for innovation.
What's their core argument there?
Their argument is that by giving away the underlying architecture, you dramatically lower the barrier to entry for startups, for universities, independent developers who could, never afford to train a model from scratch.
Right, democratizing access.
Right. They argue an open ecosystem is the only way to maintain rapid American leadership and transparency.
But on the flip side,
on the absolute opposite side, you have national security policymakers arguing that open weights are a terrifying liability.
because of the lack of control.
Exactly. Their argument is that if anyone on Earth can download an unrestricted, frontier-level AI model to their private servers, bad actors could utilize that sustained reasoning to rapidly generate biological threats or, automate devastating cyber attacks.
This raises an important question for any listener trying to build a corporate AI strategy today.
How so?
Well, the very foundation of your technology stack is at the mercy of this geopolitical tug-of-war. If you are a multinational enterprise, your supply chain resilience is no longer just about securing silicon.
It is about regulatory compliance.
Yes. You have to navigate a highly fragmented global ecosystem where a model that is perfectly legal to use in one country might be subject to severe export controls or outright bans in another.
It's like trying to build an international airline, but the laws of aerodynamics change every time you cross a border.
That is a very apt comparison.
You want to utilize the incredible speed and cost efficiency of open-weight models, but you have to hedge your bets against the very real possibility that those models get regulated out of existence overnight.
Which perfectly encapsulates the reality of the execution era. It is a transition from theoretical potential to agonizingly complex, real-world deployment.
Yeah, you aren't just writing code anymore.
No, you are simultaneously managing power grid constraints, geopolitical regulatory shifts, the intricacies of context engineering, and the deployment of autonomous workflows.
It is a totally new paradigm. Let's pull the threads together for the listener here.
Let's do it.
We started by looking at the sheer volume of Generation Deezer fighting off 90,000 AI tracks a day, proving that detection and curation are the new competitive moats.
Trust over volume.
Right. From there, we explored how AI is moving from a passive chatbot into our daily operations via 247 background agents like Gemini Spark.
Our digital teammates.
Yeah. We broke down how context engineering feeds those agents the exact data they need to operate safely in high-stakes verticals like finance and healthcare.
Replacing the old prompt engineering band-aid.
Yep. And finally, we grounded all of that software in physical reality, the massive rack-scale infrastructure from companies like AMD, the crushing demand on the global energy grid, and the geopolitical battle over open weights that could literally redefine how we build software globally.
The signal in all of this noise is clear. AI is no longer a separate, isolated tool.
It's everything.
It's becoming the foundational substrate of global business infrastructure.
So what does this all mean? I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, something that builds on everything we've just unpacked today.
Okay.
If digital agents like Gemini Spark are soon going to be operating our workflows in the background 24/7, creating documents, analyzing data, firing off emails, and platforms like Deezer are deploying detection AI to actively filter out other AI-generated content,
Right.
Are we rapidly accelerating toward a bizarre future where artificial intelligence is mostly just creating information for other artificial intelligence to consume, filter, and manage?
A closed loop.
Yeah, in a fully automated closed loop of machine generation and machine consumption, what exactly becomes the essential job of the human being?
Figuring that out is the definitive challenge of our generation.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the execution era. We hope we've managed to filter out the noise and leave you with a clear signal. Keep questioning the tools you use, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.